guys all ready? Well, thank you guys for sticking around. I know we're a little bit late. We're going to adjust accordingly. Don't worry, we'll be not missing anything exciting. We're going to keep this rolling. For those that you guys do not know these gentlemen on stage, I'd like to, in the Little Kids Rock style, let's do and then explain. Take it away, gentlemen, whenever you're ready. Awesome. Let's give it up for these guys. So, if you two want to maybe have a seat over here, we're going to start this off by making sure all of the mics work. Check. Oh, both do.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. So, Alex Skolnick, for those of you guys who don't know it, is the guy whose music I listened to growing up that made the principal think that I was going to get failing grades and probably drop out of school, which clearly it didn't happen. It wasn't a big deal.
I didn't mean to.
And then when I see him here at this, I'm very excited for this opportunity. Later on, he came out in New York to see one of our programs there. Just sat there and watched these kids just play music at Stacy Wong's school. Fascinated, and at the very end of it just said, hey, can I see one of those guitars? Next thing you know, they're just jamming through a bunch of songs with the kids. Really fun, unscripted. Now, so my question is, now you've seen a little bit of this, you see these teachers and all their enthusiasm, and I think what they probably want to know is what I also want to know, which is, what is particularly one or many of the musical moments that really kind of shaped you, like a time when you're like, wow, this is something that makes me want to do this and stick with it and learn it. Because I think that's what we're all looking for with our kids, to figure out how to make that connection.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. And this is a great event. It's great to be here. And the reenactment of Willy Wonka was something else. I don't think I'll forget that as long as I live. I want one of those, by the way. But yeah, I've had a lot of moments. I mean, there's probably too many of those epiphanies to describe. The reason I got into music in the first place was, I wasn't really good at anything else. And every other kid I knew, collected baseball cards. And I wasn't a sports guy. I wasn't very athletic. And one day there was this crowd on the schoolyard, and they're all looking at these cards, and they're calling me over. And oh, God, I don't want to look at baseball cards again. But I took a look, and it wasn't baseball players, and it was 4 guys with face paint. And one of them looked like a demon. One of them looked like a cat. One of them looked like, I don't know what he had a star on his eye. And, I didn't know who these guys were. But, to me, it was kind of like, Superman, Aquaman, and Batman with guitars. So I thought, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to be like those guys. And luckily, I liked the music. At least at this period of Kiss. This was like right at the end of the classic lineup. If it was a few years later, I don't know. If it was songs like
They took off their makeup.
Once they took off the makeup, and it was songs like "Let's Put the X in Sex" and stuff. I don't think I would have liked it as much. But I really loved the music, and for a few years, it was like my first identity was a Kiss fan, not just a guitar player. And at this time, not a lot of kids were playing guitar. I was like the only 10-year-old in my school that played guitar. This wasn't like today, where you have your YouTube with like 7-year-old Japanese kids doing Steve Vai, So for a few years, it was all about Kiss. and also classic rock and roll. There was a movie out called American Hot Wax, and Chuck Berry was in it. He played himself, and it was awesome. You should check out that movie if you can. And he really made me want to play. And then when I heard Van Halen Eruption, then it was like, okay, everything changed. Then I wanted to be a lead guitar player. So that was an amazing moment. And I joined my band when I was in high school, the band that would become Testament. And I think, thank you. Please hold your applause. And I think, just being on stage at the, early, just joining an established band, it helped a lot. But then another epiphany I had was a year into Testament, after we'd done their first record, and I was playing on stage, and I was playing all these screaming licks, and I actually felt bored. It was like the first year that I felt like I was improving as a performer, but not as a musician. And then I had another epiphany. Like the jazz version of Eruption to me was a live John Coltrane solo that I heard being remastered in a studio next to where Testament was recorded. And I thought somebody was in there, like alive. And I said, who is that? And the guy pulled me aside. He said, it said, that's John Coltrane. And I said, can I meet him? And like, no, I'm like 19 years old at this point. And he explained who he was. And anyway, so that kind of planted the seed for me, one day being able to play with jazz musicians, not just play in groups with guitar and bass, and be able to work with piano players, eventually moving back to New York and getting a music degree and studying jazz at that level. Oh, and then one more influence I'll mention is Randy Rhoads, Ozzy's guitar player, and he would study with music teachers on the road with Ozzy. I mean, I thought that was like the peak level, but that was somebody that just always wanted to improve. So I think had he lived, he would keep going. So those were all my many epiphany moments.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, especially for us. A lot of times, the teachers in this room hear, but if kids get into heavy metal, or if they get into rap, if they get into this, that's all they're going to be able to do. That's all they're going to want to do. And I think that you're, as well as everybody on the stage, is a living testament, pun intended, to being able to just play everything. And the more music you do, the more you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do you guys want more music? Alex, would you maybe give us like another minute or two of just like a little solo something?
Sure, yeah. I can do like a little
something.
A little sample of stuff.
Cool,
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alex. Stu, Stu's going to come on up now and hang out with us for a little bit up here. Do you want to talk or do you want to play first? Sure. So, Stu Hamm, I don't want to spend too much time with me talking, so let me just straight out ask the same question. What are some of your big musical moments that really made you who you are today?
You know, I come from a whole family of musicians. Some of you may know my father, Charles Hamm, who was president of the American Musicology Association and wrote a number of books on the history of popular music in America. Actually started the International Association for the Study of Popular Music, Charles Hamm. And my mother was an opera singer and a voice teacher. And I had an older brother who was 6 years older than me that had a really weird record collection that included Live Evil and On the Corner and Sun Ra and his Solar Myth Orchestra, Cream Records. And of course, one of my father's poker playing friends was John Cage. So I used to go mushroom hunting with John Cage and Merce Cunningham when I was like 9 years old. So I was doomed for a very strange musical upbringing. I used to actually take my little plastic army man and put him between the strings of the piano at Crandall Hall for John Cage to perform his prepared piano pieces. So, again, growing up, I was exposed. My oldest brother went on to move to India and study with Ali Akbar Khan and played sarod and ran the Ali Akbar Khan School of Indian Music for a number of years. So certainly academia and all forms of music have been a big part of my life. So I was destined to play music, from an early age. Of course, why do I play bass? Well, when I was sort of a 12-year-old pudgy red-haired geek in Champaign, Illinois, my hero was Danny Bonaducci from the Partridge Family, sort of the role model for pudgy red-haired geeks. And anyway, but music in the schools is great in the Midwest. As again, I grew up in Champaign. My dad was at the U of I at the time before he took the job as head of the music department at Dartmouth. And the high school bands and concert band and marching bands and Drummo Bugle Corps are incredibly competitive. So one of the reasons I wanted to play bass was because the Champaign Central High School Jazz Band was the perennial state champions. And every year they would have a chart written for them for the competition season by one of the students at the U of I. So it was so great that even in our junior high school they had two different, they called them stage band because jazz band was too risque for Champaign, Illinois in the 1970s, right? But we had like the A and B band in junior high school, It's incredible. And so when I hear about the loss of funding in schools, it's horrible because we all know the studies of what, learning to play an instrument does for your brain, but also just being in a band for, your social skills. It's the most wonderful thing to do. And even at that point, going on, band trips, traveling is certainly the best education you can give any child anywhere, right? So, but a big thing for me was, it was one of our, I guess it was my last year in junior high school, and we got invited to Oaklawn, where the Illinois State Jazz Band Stage Band Festival was. And in junior high, we didn't compete for awards. We were just sort of there for the experience. And, I played piano and flute and oboe from a very early age, but as soon as I started playing bass, I felt really good about it, and I felt that I was good at it, and I played upright and learned to play reading changes and big band charts. But so we got done playing with the junior high school jazz band, and a band director from another school came up to me, a black guy, and this time Champaign, Illinois was pretty segregated still, and I had posters of, Dr. J and on my wall and everything. So this guy from another band took the time after he played to walk up to me as a 15-year-old kid and looked me in the eyes and said, you really have something special on that bass, kid. You really got to stick with it. And as teachers, you can't forget how awkward, I'm a father as well, how awkward kids are, especially at that age. And to just don't forget that, a few words of encouragement to a child can go a long way.
That's great. Stu Hamm.
Is this thing on? Okay, so the best part about what I do is that I got to basically travel everywhere in the world and play my bass. And I've met people that are great. I'd go anywhere to play my bass. And I've seen a bunch of absolutely beautiful places. Literally 10 days ago, I was in Slovenia. And 2 days ago, I was in the Monterey Peninsula playing with Joe Satriani and a bunch of guitar players. And this is beautiful right here, but this is a song about the most beautiful place on planet Earth. It's a little place called Muir Beach Overlook. You know it? Yeah. So you take 101 north across the Golden Gate Bridge, and you take the third exit that says Stinson Beach. And you go through this little town called Mill Valley that's like Mayberry on Valium, right? Inside Northern California joke. And you go past Muir Woods, and you go past Muir Beach, and then you go up this incline to this parking lot, and you park your car, and there's a little bit of there's like a crow's nest. You go out, there's a path that goes out in the ocean, a little bit of land, about 800 feet out in the Pacific Ocean. And if you look to the left, you can see Twin Peaks and sometimes the Farallon Islands. And if you look to the right, you can see the Marin Headlands. And if everywhere I've been, it's the most beautiful place on this planet.
Thank you so much, Stu. That's fantastic. And last but not least, that's right, Liberty, who is no stranger to Little Kids Rock, clearly.
All right.
Liberty, same question.
What?
Some musical moments that influenced you, other than dressing up like that and being on stage, and how that will influence you in the future.
I saw my career going right into the toilet when I came out and that's dressed like that cowboy.
Never gets another call.
Only for Dave Wish, I'll do that. Nobody else. Nobody else. Well, when I was a kid, my parents bought me a set of drums. My cousin was selling his drums and buying a new set, and they bought me his old set. It was a big leady set with the bottom heads tacked to the bottom. And anyway, I asked my father not too long ago before he passed away, I said, why did you buy me drums? And he told me, because they didn't make Prozac back when you were a kid. So anyway, I was in 6th grade at the time. I went and I wanted to join the school band. So the teacher, I couldn't do the buzz roll for the Star Spangled Banner. You know, that. The teacher actually told me, put the sticks down, DeVitto, you'll never do anything with the drums. Can you imagine saying that to one of your students? Just discouraging him or her in their dream? What a horrible thing to do to a kid. I still have nightmares about it. No. All right, so 6th grade, I get discouraged. I'm still listening to music, though, and just tapping on the drums a little bit. And then, I get into junior high school, and there I am in 8th grade, walking around the hallways, and I'm passing these other human beings. They're called girls. And I'm thinking, I would like to meet these girls. I want to get to know them. And but the girls in my high school only liked the guys that played sports. They only liked them, the baseball players. I tried playing baseball once. You know, I knew the ball was hit. Oh, I swear it was coming right to me, and it landed way over there. That's when I found out I needed to wear glasses. In the 60s, Buddy Holly glasses, big Coke bottles, you know, the whole thing. There I am with those glasses on, and I can't play sports. How am I going to get these girls? There they were, February 1964. My heroes came on the Ed Sullivan Show. There they were in black and white. 4 not that good-looking guys. Right? The greatest thing was, though, when I was watching them on the Ed Sullivan Show, I noticed that the camera, when it panned off them, it panned the audience. And these girls were screaming for them. And then I looked at my sister, my younger sister, and her friends, and they're screaming at the black and white TV at these not that good-looking guys. And I thought, this could work. That's what I want to do. I said to myself, I want to be in a band that makes 1,000 girls scream. I'm still trying to make one girl scream, but that's oh, sorry, Little Kids Rock, sorry.
I just want to be straight here. One of us were John Coltrane, his father, girls. Those were their influences.
So it actually worked. I've been married 3 times. And, I have 4 daughters. I love children so much that I recently had another one. She's 5 months old now. You know, there might be snow on the roof, but there's fire in the fireplace.
Great. Well, hey, Glib, would you maybe do a little stuff on the drum for us?
Well, to be honest with you, I have no pedals, right? Like they have pedals. My notes, if I go like this, it's going to do the same thing again. Right? I can't change the notes and stuff like that. If I press on my pedals, they go, right? They don't work. So I'll try something.
Pretty good, guys. Look, I think that what we want to do here, I wanted to save some time for Q&A, but at this point it's either Q&A or play some more music. And I figure they're going to be around a bit. They all are doing their breakout sessions right after this. So I thought, you guys want to play one more time?
Sure.
Awesome.
We could do a 5-minute and 52-second.
You have 5 minutes.
51 second, 50-second.
Well, while they come up there, I just want to thank them very much and remind them that, we asked you about your influences and your musical memories and stuff. There are so many people in this room where if you ask them what it was that made them, these are music teachers and some general teachers that are also musicians and teach this. And for many of us, you guys were our influences, and that made a huge deal to us. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you guys so much for coming up here and doing this. I want you guys to know one more thing. I'm sitting here. We are live streaming this. And we're like, who's watching the live stream? I just got a text from one of our little kids' rock teachers in Maine, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Who's watching this and like, I can't believe I'm not here, but thanks to let us know we can do this. So we have teachers from all over watching you guys jam and being inspiring. So thank you so much for coming out here. So now what's going to happen is from 4:15 until 5 o'clock, we are going to have our breakout artist sessions. Alex is going to be in here. I believe Stu is next door. And Liberty, I think, is in the North Ballroom with special guest Dave Wish as well. Uh-oh, you're in trouble, buddy. So you guys got a little time, get some water, stretch it out, let your ears stop bleeding, and I'll see you guys soon.